Get your job done right with CAT Compact Machines. Mustang CAT will bring affordable, compact equipment to demo at your job site. We'll show you what CAT machines can do for your business. Right now at Mustang CAT, get 0% financing for 60 months on all new CAT Compact machines. Plus, new customers get a $500 parts and service credit with each machine purchased. Visit mustangcat.com/radio or call 855-MyCat19 and we'll come to you. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Good evening, everyone. I'm KCReginaldJr.
It's your man, J-Dub, Justin Waters.
Welcome to underDawgSportz. Welcome to this World Series edition of underDawgSportz. I'm your man, KCReginaldJr.
It's your man, J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
And we're at the end of the first inning in the World Series, the Astros and the Nationals are tied at 0. We're going to get our show started, and if there's any news, we will report it live on the air. To get our show started, we're going to talk about the NFL trade deadline and the winners and losers.
Let's see. It was interesting. This has probably been the busiest trade deadline I've seen in a long time. Like I said, I think we talked about it before. The last time I seen big names surfacing on a trade deadline was the year Marshawn Lynch got traded to the Seattle Seahawks, and it went from there. Be honest, the biggest name that I was really surprised with outside of Talib was probably Leonard Williams, the defensive end, going to basically staying in New York and going from the Jets to the Giants. Between him and Kenyon Drake, who Miami must be on a fire sale right now because they are trading everybody. I didn't necessarily think that was the Kenyon Drake. I thought was a great move for the Cardinals. I didn't understand as far as Miami getting rid of him, but I guess if you're going to start from ground zero, hell, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Kenyon Drake thing is what it is. I'm kind of upset at you for just skipping past the fact that the Miami Dolphins have decided they're going to be an NBA team, and they're going to start absorbing salary to get fifth-round draft picks these days. What the hell is that?
But you know what? The Miami Dolphins are looking like the Philadelphia 76ers of maybe about 5-6 years ago when they were tanking to get all the picks.
Yeah,
something like that.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like, why would they – like, this is the National Football League, and, trades didn't happen until, I guess, this year, but it really wasn't all that. No team has got a history of accepting someone else's salary just to accept it. By the Dolphins acquiring Talib, they're basically just absorbing salary because dude can't play.
Well, they're sitting there saying now, I read the headlines, the reason why the Rams traded Talib is because they're trying to free up enough money so they can go ahead and get Ramsey.
Well, the Rams traded him because he can't play. He can't run anymore. Which is
true. But the only thing I'm getting now is now you have no cornerbacks. Or you have a bunch of secondary cornerbacks. Although you'll love this, Orlando Scandrick is scheduled to have a workout with the Rams.
Let me tell you something.
I was like, I see that, like, wow, okay.
If they put Orlando Scandrick in a football game, they will lose. That's all I'm saying on that.
I didn't get. I mean, I get Miami now has a plethora of picks. They're tanking the season. I mean, although they did play well, let me rephrase that. They tried to play well against the Steelers. We actually gave them the first half, and then, we came back. But
Astros, I'm sorry, let's interrupt. Astros just hit a home run. The Astros are leading this World Series 1-0. Gary L. hit the home run. Bottom of the second inning, Astros 1, Nationals nothing. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. Let's go. Take it back, baby. Hashtag take it back. Hey, I'm a Pirates fan, but we suck, so I'm going to go with the Stros. But other trades I thought was very interesting. Michael Bennett getting traded to the Cowboys to me is very interesting for one particular reason. Not because they didn't need getting a pass rush, but you trade him to one of the teams knowing Michael Bennett, either sits out before the national anthem or he kneels. I mean, and you're going to the team that Jerry forces you to do that.
Let's talk about who traded Michael Bennett. And
New England.
It's really weird to see them sending such a big name at the trade deadline away from New England.
Well, I mean, remember, they did it a couple years ago. Well, not a couple, now it's over 10. With Randy Moss, they did him at the trade deadline, too. And it's the same premise. Michael Bennett did not get along with one of the coaches, and they banished him away. That seems like New England's thing. If you don't get along with what we got to say, do, or act, we get rid of you. Remember, they had deactivated him they suspended him for a game, and then they traded him. But the Cowboys was very interesting to get traded, too.
Yeah.
But
they think they're contenders. I said they think. I said they think. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell they can beat New Orleans, but they think they're contenders.
I agree. I do think, and me and you beg to differ on this one, I think the winner of this trade, of the whole trade scenario, there was two teams. One was Seattle with Quadri Diggs going from Detroit to because now they got a safety that actually is a physical safety that replaced Earl Thomas. The other one, me and you beg to differ, but it was a Mohamed Sanu. I think Mohamed Sanu getting traded from Atlanta to the Patriots proves two things. One, there's not a chance in God's green earth that they'll ever look back to getting AB, although he keeps tweeting that that the Patriots are going to bring him back.
Yeah.
And another factor is, I honestly think they could revamp Sanu's career. If not revamp, they could make him.
Old. There's no revamping him.
Hey, he's 32, but he could be the downhill threat. Because remember, when Josh Gordon's hurt. Got to hear it out. Josh Gordon's hurt. No AB. There's no downhill threat for that team. There's no more Chris Hogan or Damian Amendola. They all went to wherever the hell they went to. So why not? And if any person can go ahead and make another Pro Bowl player out of somebody that was probably never a Pro Bowl player, or if not maybe once, it is Tom Brady.
Wait.
I'm just saying.
I think they won that. How old is he? 43-year-old Tom Brady?
He's 42.
Okay.
Or he'd be 40.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm closer.
He's still making things happen.
No, he's not. The only reason the Patriots are winning is because they have the NFL's best defense right now. Tom Brady is not leading this team. Tom Brady is Trent Dilfer right now.
Ooh, I think that's a little excessive.
I don't think so. Not right now.
Still,
he's on the.
He's not.
No, he's Trent Dilfer of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
How many picks is he had? Trent Dilfer of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a ton of picks, bro. Come on, man.
Not in the Super Bowl year.
The Super Bowl year when he went to Tampa, well, that wasn't Trent Dilfer in the Super Bowl. That was Brad Johnson. You think of Trent Dilfer in the Ravens?
Okay, well, let's say the Ravens and Trent Dilfer.
Well, you also got to realize Trent Dilfer didn't come in until week 10 and carry on. That was Tony Banks' team, and then he got hurt.
The Astros are pushing right now. Since that home run, they got runners at first and second, nobody out. Same inning, bottom of the second. They have exalted their will early against Max Scherzer.
They need to, because Verlander can't close for jack. No disrespect, but
listen, if you're not a real baseball fan, so I'm gonna give you some slack here. Justin Verlander is the most overhyped pitcher of all time. That's all I'm saying.
Even more than Clayton Kershaw?
Yes, because Clayton can dominate at times. Justin, at this stage of his career, is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, back to the trade deadline.
It's still interesting we're going to see far as going back to the trade deadline. The one thing I wanted to see is your Kansas City Chiefs to pull a trade.
Biggest loser of the trade deadline is the team that did not make a move. My Kansas City Chiefs, for the second year in a row, with obvious holes on this team, the Chiefs do nothing.
But the Chiefs, here's the thing. There was two teams willing to trade with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs did not want to give up a number one. It was, in fact, Arizona was willing to trade Patrick Peterson for a number one and a number three of next year. Or a number three of 2021.
I will say this about Patrick Peterson. He had his chance to be a Kansas City Chief last year. He chose not to be. I don't blame them for not going to get him.
I do. I think they still need it. Y'all need a cornerback, especially with Breland hurt, and I don't know who the hell y'all backups are.
But
y'all need somebody.
Claiborne and Shavarius Ward, who are starting corners for the Chiefs if Brashard Breland is hurt. I know how you feel about Claiborne.
They got the wrong LSU one, though. The LSU one they should get is the guy down there in Arizona right now to team up with Honey Badger, the other LSU guy.
Yeah, I mean, the guy didn't want to come to. Yeah, I want to be an Arizona Cardinal for the rest of my career last year. Well, I think he should stay there. Never win a Super Bowl. Be just like Fitz.
The other one was Jamal Adams, who from the New York Jets, who's been his first 2 years in the league. He has been to the Pro Bowl. He's the only one that's a hybrid that can play either safety or corner, and they were willing to pull the trigger. And he was very upset with the New York Jets for going behind his back in the line, but they were going to pull the trigger on that one. But again, the Jets want a number one and more. I'm not the Jets. The Chiefs want a number one and more, and not a lot of people are willing to give up more when you're putting your whole franchise on the line.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the value of first-round draft picks, because a lot of first-round draft picks have been traded in this football season, more than we've ever seen before, period.
Correct.
Last year, there was this sense that people were overvaluing draft picks. This year, that went out the window. People were trading all over the place, and they weren't afraid to trade the number one. Is this draft coming up going to be this week? Or are these people in football finally starting to understand that a draft is a prospect no matter if you got the number one overall pick? See Eric Fisher.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at this year's draft coming up, it's really, really difficult to evaluate because it's been an up-and-down college season. Like I said on the previous podcast, all of a sudden it went from maybe one surefire prospect as far as Tua is concerned from Alabama, the quarterback, to now you possibly have 4 quarterbacks that can go in the first round. Not to say they are first-round material, but just because the fact of the matter is it's not a strong draft. The only other thing that's strong about this draft coming up is defensive line, and not everybody is necessarily needing a defensive line. The way these trades have been going, there's been a lot of defensive linemen getting traded back and forth, i.e. Leonard Williams from the Jets to now the Giants. So, again, this is not the NBA. See, the NBA, you trade a first-round pick in the NBA, especially if it's a top 10 pick, that could be your next franchise. You don't want to possibly trade your next, I won't say LeBron because that's kind of high, but maybe a Dwight Howard or even your James Hardens or someone like that. But in the NFL, it's still a crapshoot because you still got to develop them and if it's the right system. Again, let's look at a couple years ago with the number one pick being Jadeveon Clowney, and you have Aaron Donald at 13, Khalil Mack at 5, and look how they panned out. The All-Pro, Pro Bowl, possibly Hall of Famers weren't the number one pick. So why not take a shot if you see the talent already available with you?
You there still?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm good.
You cut off a little. I'm sorry. So my biggest argument there is about the value of draft picks because of the salary cap and the number of those draft picks. If you're a first-round draft pick, second-round draft pick, and you are a starter, yeah, I can see you trading some in-house talent. But if you're a first or second-round draft pick and you're needing to be developed, then I don't understand why they're trading so many first-round picks. Like, I can see why
that many game changers.
I can see why the rounds don't care because they're going to be drafting at the end of the first round anyway, or at least that's what they hope.
That's what I thought with y'all.
Yeah.
I figured y'all would be 20, at worst case scenario, 23 to 25, 23 to 30.
You have to remember that we still got a lot of contracts that we got to deal with, and adding more salary, and then we're going to be expected to try to retain these people. I kind of understand why the Chiefs didn't make a big move because of the salary cap, and they're trying to carry over money for AEPM 15, Chris Jones, hopefully, etc. But I'm still stuck on this window. I know you got Patrick Mahomes, but this window is not forever. All right,
Correct.
we're gonna move on. We've spent 15 minutes on the NFL trade deadline. We're gonna talk a little NBA next. We're gonna start in Houston, where the Russell Westbrook James Harden collaboration part 2. After a few games, how do you see it so far?
Here's the thing. It's not working good for the hometown guy or the guy that's
For
been
Harden,
here in James and Harden.
because he's a
It's
shooter.
working great for Russ. The thing is with Russ, I think he's more adjusting to his game. Russ is shooting right now 50%, which is compared to 50% field goal and 30% from 3-point, which is drastically different from last year where he was 30 and 22 from 3-point line. But I think he's not needing to take as many shots as he did when he was with OKC, even though he did have Paul George he could defer to in OKC. I think James, I don't think they have a rhythm yet. I think what they're really doing
It's
is
not they. James doesn't have a rhythm yet.
and I think the fact of the matter is he's so used to having the ball and telling everybody to get the hell out of the way. What he's doing right now, the last game I watched, it looked like it was like 5 minutes James, 5 minutes Russ. It was almost like the James couldn't figure out that, hey, especially the game against the Pelicans I was watching, it didn't seem like it was a smooth flow when it came to his game. Like, okay, Russ is in the game, we're on a fast break. Let me be point guard while Russ can go ahead and run up the field, run up the court, and go ahead and do damage. I don't know if this is not the thing for him, or maybe James is just the best ISO player, and that's the only thing he can do. The only problem is they'll never win if James has to be a strictly ISO player with a bunch of cast-offs. It doesn't make sense.
Well, here's my take. I don't quite see it the same way as you because of this. James Harden's getting his touches. He's still controlling the ball. Him and Westbrook play the first 5 minutes of, and I'll scale that back, probably the first 3 to 4 minutes of the first quarter, the first 3 to 4 minutes of the third quarter. Other than that, they're really not on the floor at the same time until clutch time. So
Right.
I don't agree that it's Russ's Russ being in this offense is causing James to miss. I think James is in his own head because the last time he was a teammate with Russ was running things and James was number 2. Now the roles are supposed to be reversed, and he's just not shooting well right now. He's like a total of 4 for 30 beyond 3 at this point. He's shooting deplorably. If it wasn't for free throws, James would be averaging about 10 points a game at this point. So I agree with you in the synopsis that Russell Westbrook is fine because that guy is just a complete monster. And there is going to come a day real soon where James's lackadaisical attitude on the floor pisses Russ off, and there's going to be some excitement. So I really hope they're as close as they're saying they are. But here's how I'll tell you what I think. Chris Paul isn't in Houston anymore because Chris Paul was too intense for James. And if he think he's going to get a break with Russell Westbrook, who has absolutely
Not happening.
Yeah, I don't think that's just me. I don't think that Russell Westbrook is going to have a problem because Russell Westbrook attacks. He's an attacking player. James is not. So James is always going to depend on how he shoots the basketball. And right now, that's not too well. And he may need to be watching his sidekick, who's supposed to be, I should say, his sidekick, Russ, and see how he's attacking the rim. And maybe those 3-pointers will come easier down the road. But right now, I don't know if James, I know his shooting's going to come around.
Let's hope so. Because here's the thing. I don't see it getting easier as the West gets stronger. And the reason why I'm saying that is now, all of a sudden, the Lakers, who we were all kind of on the fence with because we didn't know what was going to happen, they are now like, bump this, we're balling. I was really impressed yesterday that Anthony Davis was hurt and played through an injury, and my man ended up scoring 40 points and 20 rebounds. Now, granted, he only took 7 shots, and he shot an impressive 28 for 29 from the free throw line. But just saying that, you have the West, you have the Clippers winning right now without Paul George, their second alpha dog there. Portland is kind of lingering around. And it's like, guys, y'all got to get it together soon because y'all don't have time to figure it out with the West. Y'all could, if Houston was in the East, they could figure it out. They got time. Y'all got the All-Star break or whatever. Here in the West, no. They better get some stuff done now. James better get his shot and everything together, or they will be looking on. They will not make it to the finals. They barely may make it to the playoffs at this rate. So
I don't agree with you there. They're going to make it to the playoffs now, whether they're top 4.
Well, yeah, that's the Golden State sucks, but that's that's another subject.
Whether they're top 4 or not remain to be seen, but they're going to make it to the playoffs.
It's just very scary to see that Harden's all of a sudden his game. Remember, all off season, he got a new shot. He's going to go ahead and he's going to defer, but he's going to make his field goal percentage be even better. He thinks he can shoot possibly a career high 45 or 50 from 3-point line. Ain't none of that happening right now. The season is young. They're only 3-4 games in, but he may need to figure it out somehow, some other type of way. I don't know. It just is really alarming to see the former MVP, and should have been MVP twice, not last year though. But it's we're still gonna go there, but he should have won it. That's way behind already. But it's just going to be interesting how this is going to pan out for the Rockets.
I think it is going to be interesting, but the only reason I think it's going to be interesting is because if James don't turn his shot around quick, this is going to be Russ's team, and I don't know how that's going to translate to James's ego.
Woo!
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
because it ain't going to be pretty.
Yeah. We're still in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors basically suck, but they won a game yesterday. Can Draymond Green and Steph Curry right this ship, or is this what they are now?
Here's the thing with this one. I don't get now I'm looking at it, and I watched that game. I watched highlights of the game last night, and I caught the other game when it got blown out by, I think it was Phoenix. I don't get the dynamics in the backcourt now. Because you got two guys, you got Steph, who now they're telling him he needs to be the scorer, not more of the passer. And then you get D'Angelo Russell, who the only reason why, let's be honest, that he was an all-star with the Nets last year is he was their only player. And he had developed an attitude and a chip in the shoulder for everything that happened over in L.A. to where he got to be. But now in Golden State, where he's going to have to share the ball, he's not that good. He's not a great defender. He's not a great scorer. I'd be the first one to say also dealing with Draymond Green, they're going to ask more for him, but Draymond Green is only going to give you about 10, 11 a game. You don't have Klay Thompson. We already knew they weren't going to have Kevin Durant, so that was irrelevant. Golden State's biggest problem is subtraction.
Can I interrupt really quick?
Yes, go for it.
I think, and this is just me, I've been wanting to say this for a long time, it really proves that Draymond Green is garbage because he's been a part of this team, but in your very words, he's a top 50 player, and he's got a former league MVP as the captain. Why the hell are they so terrible if Draymond Green is a top 50 player?
I never said Dre was a top 50 player.
I'm just saying, technically.
Whoa. I said Kevin Love. We're going to go there with that. But I never said Draymond Green. The reason why I said if anything, he's a top 50 defender, not player. Draymond Green can't shoot. He doesn't, even his set shot is bad. And it was painful to see last year throughout most of it. He went from a career low 8 points a game. Draymond's never going to give you a 30 point. Draymond Green is your Charles Oakley, Dennis Rodman-esque, not rebounding, but defensive-wise style player. He's your utility person. He is not your go-to guy. Last year when he was playing in the playoffs, every time he would shoot the ball and make me cringe like that's a brick. And he would have he'd have one hot game per series, if that. It's like Will Fuller for the Texans. Will Fuller gives you one every 10 games. Jerry Vaughn gives you 1 out of 10 games. The whole point of the matter is Golden State's being exposed. They should have never got rid of Iguodala. That was the glue of the team. And although he is an older person, now he's older, he was probably one of their better defenders. and now it's being exposed. Steph ain't never been a defender. He's been a scorer. He can't defend for shit. And I think now Steve Kerr, all them years having to sit back and relax and this team basically go on automatic, he's now got a coach. And if they're waiting for Klay to get back, Klay may not be back until March. By that point, they may be out of the playoff run for Klay to come back. Now, once Klay comes back next year, or if he does try to come back early, they may get their juices flowing. Remember, this was
really?
a 73-9.
I'm sorry.
team.
You think Klay and Steph is as good as Russ and James, or Kawhi and
Not
Paul
now.
George, or
Never. But I never said that.
LeBron,
Hold up.
or AD?
Well, you can't compare those two because they're not a backcourt. They're technically front court.
I'm just talking
But
about duos.
I never said that they're better. I just sat there and said they get themselves into the playoffs. I ain't say championship. I said playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Now, are they better than some of the other teams and the ones that try to go here for the playoffs? Yeah. Do I think they're better than D. Lil and McCollum? No. Do I think they're better than De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield? Yes. Do I think they're better than DeMar DeRozan and the Kid Murray? Yes, I do. I think they are a 7th or 8th seed at the top.
Can I ask you a question that Rockets fans won't want to hear?
Go for it.
Do you think that this team would be better if Damian Lillard was the star and not James Harden?
Yeah, because Damian Lillard's a more complete player.
Exactly.
But the thing is with D. Lil knows how to defer. Because if you ever watch Portland basketball, which I've watched a lot of them just because I stay up a lot at night and I can watch some of those West Coast games, D. Lil sometimes will go ahead and say, you know what, CJ, go ahead and bust off 50, and I'm wrong. I can get 13 assists.
Do you know what I
don't
like
think James can do that.
Or I love him? It's because dude has absolutely no quit in him. And he has no worries about shooting that shot at the last second.
We'll see how many times he eliminated teams.
Yeah.
I agree with you with that.
The
Rockets are still hurting
He's
from
a
that
Rocket
one last
killer.
year.
Yeah. That was a few years ago when Dwight was here, when they had a team then, and I thought they could have been real good, and Lillard kill them. All right. That's enough basketball for now. We're going to go back to Houston, and the huge news out of Houston, again, this should sound like a broken record to Texan fans, but J.J. Watt is out for the year. How do the Texans move on without J.J. Watt, their franchise on defense? Or was that still his role?
He is a franchise on defense.
Really? He's not their best player on defense anymore.
Who would you give that to? Whitney Merciless?
Yes.
I'd give you that.
Okay.
But here's the thing. He still draws a double team.
Are you saying
like
he's
it or not,
their heart and soul?
Is still the heart and soul of that team is J.J. Watt. Their best player is Whitney Merciless on defense.
Yes.
But the heart and soul of that team is, and their leader is J.J. Watt.
Well, he can be, and we can win one for the Gipper, but I'm saying this isn't his team anymore.
Can I keep it real? When he got injured the season before last, I was one of the ones, myself and my homeboy Greg said maybe it's time to trade JJ before his value tanked.
Well, that's never going to happen.
And the fact of the matter is they weren't. Of course, they're not going to trade JJ because he is the quote unquote franchise. He's going to deliver it to the end. If JJ has to be on a wheelchair with a helmet on and run out still with the fire and the screaming and all that, he's going to do it. But at the end of the day, you're still paying him. He still has 2 years on this $100 million contract. You're still paying him $25 million a year. And the production is going to drop. Now he's got.
It's insured. They don't care. Well, this year they're going to eat the cost because he's played way too many games. But next year, if he gets hurt early enough, which, it's common sense to expect, it's insured money.
Yeah, but it's going to be very hard for me to sit there and be like, if I'm looking on a money aspect, two things that also alarm me with this is J.J. Watt said, although he is a Texan by heart, if he ever had to go to another team, it's the Green Bay Packers. I would actually make a call to Green Bay and say, hey, what would you give me for J.J. Watt?
If they decide to trade him and somebody's willing to eat the cost of an injured player half the time or more than half the time, he's going to go. He's
because
under
remember,
contract.
this is the NFL. True. This is the NFL, though, not for long league, and this is not for long.
What I'm saying is you just said he's got 2 years, $25 million a year on his contract. If they can trade him and somebody else is willing to absorb that money, he don't have a choice because he's not going to walk away from $50 million.
Of course not. Now, here's my bigger question with this scenario with JJ. Yeah, I know he has a series of injuries, a history of injuries over the last maybe 3 or 4 years. Was it a bad move to trade Clowney for nothing?
Well, he's hurt too all the time.
That's not saying to keep Clowney, but I'm sitting there saying, I don't have a pass rusher in development outside of Merciless. You have Merciless, and Merciless got hurt last year too. But wouldn't this have been the time to look like,
but
okay,
that was
we
an
know we're about to
anomaly
get
with
rid
him
of
getting
Clowney.
hurt.
Right, but I'm saying, wouldn't this be a time to look and say, hey, we like last year's draft, hey, we're not going to keep JJ because he costs too much. I mean, not JJ, but Clowney because he costs too much. JJ is injury prone. He's one more injury away from almost retirement time. I mean, if he pulls an Andrew Luck, I would not be shocked, to keep it real with you.
And he should. I think he owes the Texans as much.
He's not, because he's a franchise, and we already know what color skin he is, and a lot of people are banking on that.
Hey, since you went there, and we got to stop doing that because you know who listens to sports radio. It ain't our people. I'm just saying. Listen, a couple weeks ago, Will Fuller went down again, and he's notoriously injured every year, but Facebook, Twitter, Instagram was exploding with, we got to cut Will Fuller. It's time to move on from Will Fuller. Why the hell isn't there this move to get rid of J.J. Watt after he's hurt for the season yet again in his 30s, making $25 million a year?
Because he's a savior and what he's done in the past. Not to mention the fact, I'm going to keep it a way real. Everything, and it is commendable, except for in the hood.
Can I say now?
What JJ did, hold on. I'm going to say this. A lot of people in this town will never want JJ to go anywhere else because of what he did for Harvey. But again, he did not. None of that money that happened with Harvey went to the hood.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
And
our black and brown people that got benefit off of that. I'm just being real with y'all. No disrespect.
I was going to get on that. Let's talk a little bit about this sentimental crap and fans in the NFL. At some point, it's about winning and losing. You cannot win if your best player is not available. J.J. Watt has a history, and I don't mean an anomaly, a history of not being available to the Houston Texans. I understand his off-the-field contributions. Every player has off-the-field contributions. But if this is about winning and losing, and availability is anyone's best ability, J.J. Watt should not be making $25 million a year. And if that's his rate, the Houston Texans should cut him.
Ooh. I think you hit a nerve on that one, Casey.
I'm saying if that is his rate, if that's what he's demanding for his services, and not willing to renegotiate because, you're just never available to play, then they should cut him. Speaking of J.J. Watt and his injury history, what is in his future? Should the Texans start thinking about life after J.J.? And should they possibly be looking at trade options?
The only thing about trade options, there's nothing out there to really trade for. I mean, you're not going to get an elite unless they don't pay them. Y'all better be scared. But because if they don't pay Chris Jones, if I was the Texans, I would just try to see which I would trade
no.
for. But imagine,
no. I will start the petition right now. In your last segment when you were talking about him, it took every bit of discipline in me not to say what I normally say when I hear his name. because of what I told you previously about who listens to sports talk radio. But I'll hit you with that in Skype tomorrow. J.J. Watt should retire, but if he doesn't retire, no one should pay him more than $5 million to play football. And it's not because he's not worth it when he's healthy. It's because the dude isn't healthy. And at this point, you're banking on about 3-4 strong games from this guy. That's it.
Yeah, but that's the one thing. And this is the thing I'm trying to understand. There is no loyalty. I had a customer of mine, a client of mine, sit there and say, Houston is one of the most loyal cities in the world. And I had to stop him real quick because I said, loyal.
If that was the case, the Oilers would still be here.
Well, let's even go off of that. I said, every legend y'all had, y'all either forced a retirement or trade. I said, people still forget that Hakeem Olajuwon did not end his career as a Houston Rocket. He ended it as a Toronto Raptor. Warren Moon did not end his career as a Houston Oiler.
He was a Kansas City Chief because the Houston organization and city is only loyal to one thing, the almighty dollar.
So, and that's just being honest with you, it's a not for long league. Even Andre Johnson. And Andre Johnson, before he got cut from the Texans.
Yeah, he was a Colt when he retired, wasn't he?
he was a Titan. Remember, he went to the Colts and then he went to the Titans his last year. He was just mad and left. He was still serviceable. He still had, before they cut him, he still had an 800-yard season. And remind you, they were still going through the rotisserie of quarterbacks at that time.
Yeah, so it didn't make sense to keep him, though.
Right. Again, if y'all don't want to pay him, restructure his contract. Now, in Steelers Nation, all of a sudden we've heard there are rumors that they should trade JJ to the Steelers so he can be with TJ. That's great. Hell no. We don't need that. Hell no. We trying to calm TJ down because TJ has a little bit of injury history with just in the short time he's been with the Steelers.
It's called genetics, brother.
Right. We don't need the Watt injuries. We good. We appreciate that. I just had to put that as a side note. If JJ was JJ of 2012, 2013, of course, yes. But 19, no, we okay. We cool. Peace.
Can we talk about some of these 20 sack seasons and the contract year? And what I'm starting to believe is a conspiracy among players to get other players paid.
Like a Brett Favre move, like when he fell down.
100%, yes. If you're losing, let's say I'm losing in the fourth quarter by 3 touchdowns, I might let JJ go because I want him to get paid. Because if he gets paid, he moves the high number, which moves the low number. So we all win.
But the thing is, he's never had, after that, he hasn't had a 20 sack season.
Exactly.
Since
Justin Houston, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember, it was JJ. Well, one year was JJ, Alden Smith, Von Miller. Then the next year was JJ, Justin Houston, and Von Miller.
Yeah.
And since then, none of them have had any sack anything.
That's what I'm saying. Once they get paid, they go back to normal. Now, either the NFL isn't testing for PEDs in contract years, or there's some unspoken rule amongst players that if I get paid, you're going to indirectly benefit, so let me get paid. I'm already up by 3 touchdowns, or you're already up by 3 touchdowns. Give me a sack here or there after the game is decided.
I can see that, but that's a stretch, but I can see that because the only reason why I think about that is not neither of the guys we talked about, but a guy that went from Tennessee to Washington and Albert Hainsworth, that all of a sudden he had a 16-sack season as a DT to dude never averaged more than 4 sacks ever again in his career, and I don't even think his career lasted anymore after that.
Well, you're saying that we're not talking about any of the guys that I mentioned, but I'm talking about Justin Houston. Justin Houston has one dominant season behind him. That was his 21.5 sack season. 22 sack season because it was the record is 22.5. He hasn't come close to that in any other year in his career. But in his contract year, he miraculously gets 22 sacks. Come on, man.
But it always happens like that. Look at Jadeveon Clowney last year.
Yes, and that's what I'm alluding to here. I'm alluding to the fact that these players are rolling over.
It's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, that's an obvious. You ball out during your contract here because you want the money.
But it ain't about balling out. It's about if I get paid, you get paid too. So if the game's decided, let me get an extra sack or two. That's what I think is really happening. Because I don't remember Justin Houston dominating any game in that season that he had 22 sacks. I didn't remember him forcing a fumble in critical situations to make the Chiefs better. I do remember Justin Houston had 22 sacks.
That may be it, but I know JJ did dominate his 26.
Yeah,
at least his first 20 seconds.
We're talking about this guy.
Dominated.
Yeah, he did
But
yeah.
the thing is Bill O'Brien, and I'm going to just say this like this, the reason why J.J. Watt is always hurt now is because they utilize him way too much. Putting him on offense, doing tight end plays, fullback plays, him trying to go ahead and do a pick and run 90 yards and then get caught down, it wear and tears his body. One thing Michael Strahan did say, I seen an interview with him, and it's like, bro, you're going to have to slow down a little bit. And J.J. laughed. He said, I don't know how to slow down. I got one speed. Well, that one speed will put you in the hospital. So this is what's going to happen with the Texans. They need another pass rusher because Whitney Merciless is now the only option. DJ Reader's cool, but Reader is really a defensive tackle, not a D end. They're trying to make DJ Reader to like the Aaron Donald hybrid mode. I don't see it. He is a D tackle that just happens to do pass rushing on occasion. But they need somebody, and they need somebody to step up fast. But life without the next year, whether it's free agency or the draft, they need to draft a defensive end. It's just a factual situation.
I got you. So this topic is supposed to be about J.J. Watts and his future and how the Texans move on without him. What is J.J.'s future?
Me personally, he'll stay he'll stay as a Texan the rest of his career.
Wow.
This city loves him so much that they will go ahead and sacrifice reality.
They're going to sacrifice $25 million against the salary cap?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because of the great hope.
But you stole my line, bro.
The hope.
Yeah.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah.
They got that hope.
Yeah. I just don't understand. I thought this was about Super Bowls, not hope. Anyway.
This is about hope.
Yeah.
They hoped it.
Speaking of hope, let's hope Deshaun Watson can stay healthy because this guy is almost Superman. Dude gets kicked in the face, what I think was intentionally, in the middle of the same play, throws an unbelievable touchdown pass. And after he got kicked in the face and his eyes started swelling, dude still led his team to victory. Deshaun Watson, this dude is turning into that guy.
Yeah. We had this argument before. We talked about it. Is he better than Pat?
No.
No. But it's two different styles of play. But this is the future of NFL. You know what this is? This is what they wanted Ben and Eli to be, and it really never transpired between the two as a rivalry. This is what they wanted Matt Leinart and Vince Young to be. Yeah. That definitely didn't happen. We obviously know that. Yeah, right. That never was going to happen. This is what they wanted Luck and RG3 to be, Pat and Deshaun.
Well, let's hope that they both can stay healthy.
I agree, because both of them have line issues, and it's killing both of them. I will say this. It's very interesting. That same play that he got kicked in his face, he almost did the same play similar the week before, and they called it. They called the play and said that if he was technically sacked or whatever, they stopped the play. But he almost did the same exact style of play. He had guys on his back.
Yeah.
He still threw it.
And I will tell you this.
Thought it was interesting.
The reason that he was allowed to throw that ball is because the play happened the previous week. Because if that play did not happen, they would have stopped this play too.
the NFL had messed up, and I think this is like, my bad. So we definitely ain't gonna call this one again.
We realize who you are, and we're gonna take that into account, and we're not gonna blow the whistle when somebody grabs you.
I agree. But Pat is doing, not Pat, but Deshaun. Pat's still magical too, but he hurt. But Deshaun is doing magical things, and if they keep him healthy, because the one thing I'm also going to say, for whatever reason, Deshaun has now all of a sudden made Darren Fells a journeyman tight end. They're making him look like Gronk on plays.
Yes.
Like,
I agree 100%. Darren Fells is their number 2 receiver right now.
He is balling, and yes. I'm very impressed. I said, wow, okay.
He's big, he's athletic, and he's fast. He is Tony Gonzalez. No, I'll give you Gronk. I think he's more Gronk.
Well, the reason I'm saying Gronk is dude is 6'8",
but he's more athletic than Gronk.
Yeah, but
he was supposed to be a pass blocker. He wasn't supposed to be a run blocker. I'm sorry, he wasn't supposed to be a receiving tight end.
But Deshaun's making that decision. Hey,
dude's getting open and he's catching the ball.
And remember, I said before the preseason, I said if Texas can find a tight end, Deshaun will be more dangerous because their best years they had a tight end. They had Owen Daniels during the Schaub years. He has a tight end. Wow! So now you got a solid number 1, an elite number 1. A solid tight end, and a part-time receiver. Okay, you got progress. If they can figure out the running game.
Can I intervene?
If they can figure out the running. Okay, please. And I know you're going to say something about me calling him a part-time receiver.
No, I want to talk about Hopkins.
What's wrong with Hopkins?
Is he losing a step? Because all his catches now seem to be 10 yards or less.
But you're getting still triple team.
Yeah, but he's turning into a possession receiver.
Because the fact of the matter is he can't go deep when you have damn near every time both safeties and the corner basically looking at him. This is why the fact of the matter is Will Fuller can go off like that. This is why QT, Cody, whatever. He's had games he's gone off. Because the fact of the matter is, whatever his name is. Cody, whatever. They can go off, but that's why they need. If the Texans can be consistent with the other receivers going off and catching the ball, they would be dangerous. Imagine having, to a certain extent, you have D-Hop, and then you have. It was almost like I hate to bring up my Steelers, but last year when we had AB and Juju, if they're always triple and double teaming AB, you have another guy. If he wants to be that man, he can catch the ball.
But they haven't had that consistency there.
Right, but that's not Deshaun's fault.
Yeah.
That's because the line is not blocking for Deshaun, and these guys, like I said, once or twice every other game, Fuller's maybe every 3 games, QT's maybe every 10. If they can find another solid, consistent, that's why I didn't understand them cutting Demaryius Thomas. Y'all should have just kept him. Because, no, he's not going to be Demaryius of, 5-6 years ago with the Broncos, but he could be your solid number 2.
They could have traded for Emmanuel Sanders. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. O'Brien didn't have any more picks left. So back to the question at hand.
Remember, he went for a 5th.
Yeah. Back to the question at hand. Is Deshaun Watson an elite quarterback now? Is he in that top 5?
Top 5. Pat, let's just go off the list. Pat, Tom. No, okay. We'll take Tom. We won't argue with that. Pat.
Right at this moment, it's A-Rod, Russ, Pat, Deshaun, and whoever you want to take 5th.
So, yeah, he is in the top 5.
Yeah, that's my top 5. In that order.
I agree with you. I can get down with that in that top 5. Because I'm damn sure not going to put Dak Prescott.
Hell no. He still ain't top 10 to me.
I can't put Jared Goff.
No.
Mitchell Trubisky. Nope. No. Can't do him either.
It's two of the 3 quarterbacks you just mentioned. I'm offended that you mentioned them.
Well, this is the names they've always been throwing out there, so I'm just going off of the list. Like,
the list
let's
of
go round robin around
the list of the East Coast biased media.
If you want to call it that, yeah. Well, you can't say East Coast bias media.
Can I just
when
say
they
coastal
keep adding
bias?
Jared Goff.
Coastal
Well,
bias.
no, it's always the sexy pick because they wouldn't have Jared Goff all the damn time if
on the
it was dealing
coast.
with
He's on the
bias.
coast. I said coastal. I didn't say east. Coastal. As long as you're on the
No,
coast, you can get their love.
And maybe the only other guy, and he's in the top 10. Nah, I won't add Derek Carr just yet because he got to be consistent.
And Cam Newton is not even mentioned right now because he's hurt. But
Cam,
that's not the reason.
Cam hasn't been impressive for a couple years now.
Why?
I'm sorry, y'all.
Why?
Y'all. Well, one lineman, two weapons.
He hasn't been impressive since Steve Smith was allowed to go to the Baltimore Ravens.
No, because he went to the Super Bowl without Steve Smith.
I'm just saying he hasn't been Cam since Steve Smith left.
You haven't given him any other weapons outside of Greg Olsen.
Or now Christian McCaffrey.
Old. And you can't use your running back all the time as your main weapon. I mean, yes, you could try the hell out of it, but if you're going to run Christian McCaffrey to death like that, he won't survive too much longer.
Got you. So here's the breaking news. underDawgSportz, KCReginaldJr, and Justin J. Waters have now said that Deshaun Watson is an elite quarterback in the National Football League. All righty.
He is.
Texans, Jaguars, Week 9. Who you got?
The Jaguars are probably one of the more interesting teams in the NFL, so I'm definitely not going to go for them.
The AFC South, nobody is under 500 right now. It is the most competitive division in football right now.
Okay, let's keep it real. The Colts, Texans. Yes, those are playoff contenders.
Wait, so
the Titans,
you're keeping it real, and
pretenders.
you are axing the Titans at 4-4 and the Jags at 4-4.
Correct.
I will give you the Titans.
The Titans are hot,
but
the Titans are hot right now because of Mariota benched.
Listen, I will give you the Titans, but I call on the Jags. I believe in the stash now. I watched a couple of his highlights. This team is behind him. This defense is still top notch, even without Jalen Ramsey. This is going to be a very competitive game.
Yards, it is very competitive. The defense still gives up a lot of yards. They are not the same defense.
But they aren't giving up a lot of points.
The end all be all. Well, you know what's killing their defense right now is the sudden retirement of Tevin Smith, the middle linebacker.
I got you.
That's what's killing their defense.
But they aren't giving up a lot of points. They might be giving up the yards, but they aren't giving up a lot of points.
If they can stay consistent, I'll give them that. I still, like I said, I had a prediction with a buddy of mine. If I said anything with the Jaguars, and my man Will, who's a Jaguar from Jacksonville, I said they can go possibly, if anything, 8-8, 9-7.
Nah, they only need 4 more wins to get to 8-8. They got 8 games to play. Listen, I believe the Jaguars are legit. I think this is a game that could go to overtime. I'm going to pick the Texans because I have to sleep tonight next to my spouse. But I'm all in on the stash. I think the Jaguars are going to give them every bit of what they come to NRG for, and it's going to be a tooth and nail drag-out fight, and whoever has the ball last, unless it's the Texans and Fairbairn is lined up for a game winner, will win this game.
I'm still going to go. I'm going to go with the Texans, but I actually think the score will be a lot different. I still think 24-14.
Oh, wow.
Texans.
Like I said, I see this game going overtime. I see the final score being 31-28. Again, I have to say Texans. So you
don't have to.
Yes, I do.
I mean, you got to ball out, baby.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Man.
Anyway, moving on to Kansas City. And the Kansas City Chiefs, after coming off a loss to Aaron Rodgers with 2 miraculous throws, are going to be hosting the Minnesota Vikings. In the meantime, Matt Moore was pretty darn impressive last week, and Andy Reid almost did a great job of coaching. This kid,
almost.
Yes, almost. He did punt the ball away with 3 minutes left to go in the game. But does Matt Moore's performance allow the Chiefs to pump the brakes on getting Patrick Mahomes back as quickly as possible?
Yes, because the fact of the matter is y'all still have a winning record. We're 5-3 right now. So y'all don't have to hit the panic button on that.
Well, home field advantage is out of the picture at this point, because if anybody's going to beat New England, it's the Chiefs, and after that, then that's it. The
biggest thing is with y'all is y'all have to get him healthy for the playoff run.
Exactly.
Because the fact of the matter is, with y'all bye, and you argue with it, you brought it up, with your bye being so late in the season, being week 12, I mean, we were week 9, week 8 now?
Week 12, 9? Yeah. We're week 9, so we got 3 more weeks to go.
And we still got 3 more weeks to go before y'all bye week. So y'all need to get him as healthy as possible for the playoff run.
I say sit him until the bye. And I don't care.
I would say that too. That would make more sense.
I think Matt Moore can win at least one of these games. Honestly, I think he'll probably win this week. I think the Packers are better than the Vikings, and the way he played against the Packers and the way the defense was able to step up in the second quarter and only the second quarter, I think they can win this game, and I think they can beat the Titans.
Yeah, I can beat the Titans. Y'all going to Arrowhead, or is it in Minnesota?
I'm hoping that it's in Minnesota because we suck at Arrowhead.
If it's Minnesota, y'all going to have some issues. Here's my biggest thing with that.
We are 4-0 on the road. We are 1-2, 1-3, 1-3 at home.
The big issue with y'all and going against Minnesota is Minnesota has a strong, one of the strongest,
Minnesota
if not
has a complete
the strongest.
Team.
Yes, they have one of the stronger offenses. Really, they definitely have one of the strongest receiving corps in the NFL.
Wait. Let's go to their offense. Kirk Cousins has been balling, but we both know that if Chris Jones plays in this game, Kirk Cousins is going to piss his pants, and he will not be allowed to ball.
But then you still have Dalvin Cook, who has been running his ass off.
I got you, but the Chiefs have been better against the run the last couple weeks.
Definitely comeback player of the year. But if Chris Jones does not get to Kirk Cousins, y'all are going to have a long day.
Yes.
And I don't mean in a good way.
I agree with you.
Because
especially
with Thielen, Rudolph, Diggs, and now all of a sudden they got another guy that's not Laquan Treadwell, which I always said was a waste of draft
out, by the way.
So now it'll be, I forgot what the new guy they came in with. Y'all going to have some problems. Y'all got to get the guy who replaced Thielen. He had, I think, 60 or 70 yards. And then, of course, again, y'all got to deal with Stephon Diggs, who is now, ever since his little rant with Kirk Cousins, basically calling him soft, has been balling.
Can I say, I'm going to surprise you. Shavarius Ward is great. And I'm not worried about the number 2 receiver. I am worried about the number 1 receiver. Because from what I've seen the last few weeks, this young man who we picked up after the preseason last year in a trade, who was going to be cut by Dallas, is technically our number 1 corner right now. And he's playing as if he's our number 1 corner right now. I don't know what to make of Morris Claiborne. You tell me he's garbage. You continuously tell me he's garbage. I reserve judgment until I see the garbage myself.
Not consistent.
But
dumpster juice. He wasn't good. He wasn't good in Dallas. He wasn't good as a Jet.
I reserve the right to call him garbage until I see the garbage for myself. I give every player the Chiefs pick up a chance because I have faith that they know something that no one else does.
There's dumpster juice. But okay, you'll give him his chance, whatever the case may be. He may be if Breeland. Let me ask you this question: is Breeland actually out, or was he playing?
No, he just didn't practice today. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I mean, because he hurt his shoulder early in that game last week, and he came out and finished that game. So I have no idea.
So if Breland is out and then you have Claiborne against Diggs, boy, I got Diggs on one of my fantasy football teams. Man,
do not be licking your chops against my team, okay? Don't do it.
Boy, I'm telling you now,
just don't.
He's gonna do more damage than T.Y. Hilton does to the Texans
or the Steelers this week.
Hey, well, our secondary is straight. We ain't got to worry about that. We got to worry about
that's a declaration.
Our secondary is pretty good, baby.
That's a declaration. We're going to get to that later. So you agree with me that Matt Moore allows the Chiefs to pump the brakes on Mahomes. Mahomes was limited again in practice, which means that this week, he probably should not play.
Now, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Remember when you were calling out the cap line? We should call Cap. We should get Cap in. And I said to you, Matt Moore, although he is not a NFL winner, quote unquote, he is a great game manager. He is just like Chase Daniels and other teams.
Last week, he played well.
Right.
I mean, it has a lot to do with the Chiefs' skill players.
Right, exactly. If you put him in the right situation with enough elite talent, I mean,
listen,
let's go.
He played very smart
you put it
last
together,
week.
It worked out.
He played very smart last week. I was impressed with his intellect in that game. And it's one throw that really exhibited that. The touchdown throw to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce was going the wrong way or the opposite way of where this ball ended up. So what Moore did was throw basically a punt because Kelce was that wide open. He basically threw a punt to allow Kelce, who was sprinting inside, to adjust outside and go run the ball down. So Moore played very intelligently last week, and if he does that again, he's going to again give the Chiefs a chance, and if they can make an adjustment in the second half like they did in the second quarter last week, then they will be competitive in this game. But I agree that we should pump the brakes on Mahomes. He definitely, again, should not play this week. Maybe next week.
The biggest factor is you don't want a lingering injury that goes on to last a longer time.
Exactly. I want him 100% or it's at least 95 before we play him again. All right. Speaking of the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and how impressive Matt Moore was, well, why did the Chiefs lose that game? Well, the running game has appeared in the Chiefs' deficits. J-Dub has been talking about this all year. What are we going to do about running back? And for the first 4 games of the season, I was telling you how confident the team was in Damian Williams. So confident they went out and got Shady McCoy. And Shady still got good feet. Shady's still a good runner. But Shady still carries the ball as if he's on a crapper taking a dump. And it's now cost the Chiefs in consecutive weeks with his late game fumbles. And after he fumbles, you never see him again. He's on the sidelines for the rest of the game, and they go to Damian Williams. Listen, if the guy's got a fumbling problem, don't start him in the first place. Let Damian Williams be your runner, and let him be the third down back. The Chiefs got to fix running back, especially with Patrick Mahomes out. We did run the ball more last week. It was more effective until Shady McCoy fumbled, as we all knew he would. What do the Chiefs do at running back now? Because they didn't make a trade yesterday, and this is why I called them the biggest loser, because they have the biggest upside with no running game. We're silently regretting allowing Kareem Hunt to walk away.
Which he will be back next week.
He will.
Come to think about it. The thing about it with the Chiefs, if they played it correctly, y'all have 2 backs that are 2 solid backs. Are they, all-stars? No, but they are 2 solid backs.
Listen,
y'all can work a 2-back offense.
The Chiefs have thrown 1 interception all year.
Okay.
1 interception all year. Shady McCoy has lost more fumbles than our quarterbacks have thrown interceptions, and we're going to week 9.
But y'all need to stop making Shady McCoy the premier. Shady McCoy should be the third down or
But the problem is whether he's third down or first down, he's still going to carry the ball like it's toilet paper and he's on the crapper. So I don't think he should play at all.
No, what they should do is what Andy Reid didn't do Here's one thing you probably didn't know. When Shady McCoy first got to Philadelphia, and because he had the same issues at Pitt when he was playing for my alma mater,
He's had
shout
the
out
issues his
University
whole
of Pittsburgh.
career.
He had those career, but Andy Reid used to fine him every time he would go ahead and fumble the ball. So after a while, when Shady became all-pro Shady, not just Pro Bowl, but all-pro Shady because he wasn't doing it, he was afraid of getting fined for losing the football. And they weren't like little fines. It wasn't 500 or 1,000. It was like 10,000, 15,000.
And
Now,
I agree. He should do that again.
Right, because that's the only way you have to affect them one way or another. If he fumbles the ball, he can still get confident, well, my defense will get it back and they will get it again. But if he's not learning the lesson, then you need to punish him one way or another. So you can either sit his ass on the bench, but realistically speaking, he's not really getting paid that much by the Colts. His contract was a trade-over contract where basically Buffalo paid him his salary and the Colts are just paying him like check to check. So with that being said, why not just go ahead and fine his ass if he keeps fumbling the fucking ball? Because y'all need him.
Ready?
Y'all really do.
I'm telling you the truth. Kansas City's ready for him to be cut. I've been on social media all week. I've been trying not to comment on this because the guy's been a good player in this league for a long time now, in spite of the fumbles. But he's not that important to this offense that he needs to be on the field all the time. So I don't know why he's the first down running back other than Reed believes he's a better runner than Damian Williams, and Damian Williams is a better receiver than Shady McCoy. But Shady McCoy has been an effective runner, but the fumbles have killed the Chiefs. I understand that we got beat by two absolute incredible throws last week, that if either one of them aren't made, there's at least a tied football game in the fourth quarter. And if both of them aren't made, the Chiefs win. But the Chiefs still win, or at least tie the game, if Shady doesn't fumble in the clutch. I'm sorry. You don't run between the tackles carrying the ball like it's Charmin toilet paper. It's time for Shady McCoy to hang up the cleats, or at least be cut from the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we're fine with Damian Williams, and we're fine with Darrell Williams, and we're fine with Thompson. But I don't have time for fumbles when our quarterbacks aren't even throwing interceptions, even the backup. All right.
We'll see, but I think Andy Reid's not going to cut him just for the fact of the matter is he's too prideful. He's not going to cut a guy that he brought in and he thinks he developed. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
I understand that. I know you have this topic on the Steelers, and I'm going to steal it too. You're talking about your walking wounded. The Kansas City Chiefs have been without 8 to 9 starters every week for the last 3 weeks. And it's not getting better. Last week, Rashard Breeland was hurt in the game. And Alex Okafor was hurt again in the game. So, by the way, Eric Fisher was ready to come back, and he just ain't right, so they shut him down again. Patrick Mahomes is hurt. You want to talk walking wounded? The Kansas City Chiefs being competitive at this point, without their starting quarterback, their defense, their best player on defense missed the last 4 games. Their number one technically quarterback hasn't played in the last 2 weeks. That's Kendall Fuller. Rashard Breeland's now hurt, so now we're 2/3 out of our starting cornerback rotation. If you want to talk walking wounded, the Kansas City Chiefs are it. This has been one hell of a.
But we'll get there. We'll get back to. We'll still beat you with that one.
This has been one hell of a coaching job by Andy Reid, because the Chiefs are 5-3 and still first place in the AFC West. I really would love to know what this team looks like at full strength because Alex Okafor has been a beast, and nobody's paid attention to him.
But he was a beast when he was coming out of Texas and was in Arizona. The fact of the matter is that they just did a fire sale and didn't keep him. Yeah. And then I think he did a small stint with the Rams. But he's always been nice. Y'all got a good player.
Under the radar pickup, yes. Absolute under the radar pickup. And listen, the guy's been balling. And I'm really sad that he's hurt. And when we had those 2 games where the Chiefs were giving up all those rushing yards, he didn't play.
So with that being said, you guys still have the division. I still think y'all will pretty much win at least another 5 or 6 games. Like I said, I predict y'all 11. I predict y'all at 11. But I think until the bye, if y'all just go ahead and figure out, make sure Shady doesn't fumble the ball. Like I said, y'all not going to cut Shady because the fact of the matter is Andy Reid's not going to cut his guy. Come on.
I mean, but he benched him in the middle of a primetime game.
That's as far as you're going to get. Look how hard it was for Andy Reid. Andy Reid almost had to get fired.
I agree with you.
To get rid of Donovan McNabb.
I agree with you.
McNabb was actually going downhill at that point.
You just reminded me that that Andy Reid had an offensive line coach as his defensive coordinator, which actually did end up getting fired in Philadelphia. So he is too loyal. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you.
Shall not happen. So y'all stuck with Shady, man.
Yeah. So Chiefs versus Vikings. As you said before, Kirk Cousins has been absolutely balling since Stephon Diggs called him out. Even with Adam Thielen not playing the last couple of weeks, and he won't be playing again Sunday, their running back has been a nightmare for teams all season, Dalvin Cook. And the Chiefs can't stop the run. Sunday's going to be a very, very difficult test for the Chiefs.
I said this, and I'm pissed I didn't pick Dalvin Cook for fantasy football because he was there when I needed the second pick outside of McCaffrey.
Me too.
But I said this, the way he's been running, and it's really not his initial contact, it's that second hit. When he's speeding past
reminds
linebacker,
me of a faster Marshawn Lynch.
Yes, I'll give you that. But he's running better than he ran even when he was at Florida State. And I'm really impressed with it. But I will say this. The Vikings have one of the more balanced teams in the NFL because you can't keep putting 8 in the box and expect Kirk Cousins not to go ahead and launch that bad boy.
I do, because Kirk Cousins still sucks.
Kirk Cousins still sucks, but he gets hot. And when he gets hot, he gets dangerous. Is he going to be in that same echelon as Pat Mahomes, Deshaun, and A-Rod? No.
I think the stash is better than Kirk Cousins.
But if he gets hot regardless, because the stash is doing the same exact thing with his situation.
With less receivers.
If he gets hot, it's a problem. Is Kirk Cousins my number one? No, but if he gets hot, y'all got an issue.
He's a solid backup quarterback.
No, he's a little bit better than a solid backup. You just don't like him, but he's better than a solid backup. Is he an all-pro? No.
Is he a Pro Bowler?
He's been to the Pro Bowl twice, so he is a Pro Bowl. We can't take that away from him one way or another. But I said once and I said it again, if he gets hot, y'all going to have a long day.
Yeah, that's true. I believe in the Chiefs. I picked them last week. Yeah. The 1 week I didn't believe in them, they won. So I think I'm going to do that again to try to – no. I don't like the Vikings. Chiefs will win this game. Last week I said 24-21. Then I saw Matt Moore. So now I'm going to say 27-24 Kansas City.
31-17 Vikings.
Wow, only 17 points? Tyreek Hill is healthy. Travis Kelce's healthy. Sammy Watkins healthy. Mecole Hardman healthy.
Top 5 defense in the league.
Wow.
Xavier Rose. That's the matchup I want to see is Rose versus Hill. That's going to be a great matchup.
Well, you're going to see it.
I like that matchup.
And
that's a great matchup.
Wow, you're holding the Chiefs to 17 points.
Greenway is going to hear me out. 17 points.
Wow.
31-17.
And on to Pittsburgh's favorite son, Justin J-Dub Waters, with yet another installation of the quarterback controversy brewing in Pittsburgh.
Well, they made it not a controversy. It was easy. They put in Rudolph and scared the shit out of half the Steelers nation the first 10 plays of the game.
I could only imagine you over there cussing at the TV because of the fact that he started off slow and the Dolphins were up 14-0.
So I'll give you exactly what I did. I sat there in the kitchen. My wife was sitting there watching, doing some work, and the game is on. And I had some soup from Olive Garden. And when he threw that first pick, I said, okay, he's a little bit rusty. When he threw the second pick, which was he forced the pass. This is the thing with Mason Rudolph. He does not have that vision yet where he can look off a defender. He telegraphed that pass to Juju, just like the first one. I literally knocked the damn soup off of the counter because I was that damn pissed off. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
I have never done that.
I was on the bandwagon. I was on the bandwagon with everybody on social media was from the bird. Why the hell are we starting this kid? Because he still looks like a deer in headlights.
Wait. You were ready to bench Mason Rudolph?
I was the first one to tell you I didn't want him to start yet.
Wow.
I said, give him maybe about 3 weeks, which would have been the bye. This way, I said, look, you got the Dolphins. The Dolphins.
This is a
bye.
bye.
It is not. In the same note, I really want us to get our run game together. I'm not exactly needing him to go ahead and toss the ball around. And Tomlin did the complete opposite and basically gave him the green light to sling that thing.
And I agree with Tomlin. And the reason I agree with Tomlin is because who better than the Dolphins to see what he's got? They suck. So why not get him out there? Why not get him game experience after post-concussion? Why not let him sling the ball a little, see what the kid's got, so I can know how to move forward? Because at the end of the day, I know I'm going to beat the Dolphins.
You gave him too much room. Because
no, you didn't. You won 31-14.
No, what I'm telling you is in the first half, I'm giving you a breakdown. The first half, unlike when he first got on, the first half, 4 out of his first 6 passes were all deep passes. So basically the Dolphins were saying, let's just go ahead and play prevent and go back there. And that's how he was getting picked. Tomlin, you know this kid is learning the book day by day. It's a day-by-day experience. This is only his technically third game. Well, second and a half because he got knocked out the third quarter of the Ravens game. Why not play conservative on the passing tip, but let that running game that you let loose against the Chargers, let that go ahead and start coming into formation with Benny Snell and James Conner.
But here's my argument to that is if you don't see what this quarterback has against the Dolphins, when do you see it? He's got it.
This is the NFL.
It's still the Dolphins. This isn't the NFL. Wait, this is the Miami Dolphins. This is not the National Football League. They cannot beat Alabama, and you know that.
You have to be competitive against every team.
They cannot beat Alabama or Clemson.
Sunday, you can lose a game.
The Miami Dolphins cannot beat Alabama or Clemson right now. You and I both know that.
No, they'll beat Clemson. They won't be Alabama. They'll beat Clemson.
No. The Miami Dolphins cannot.
Clemson has holes. Trust me. You don't watch college ball. I do.
The Miami Dolphins cannot beat the Clemson Tigers right now. I'm sorry. I would literally take money to see that game. That's a game that we would bet on.
Boy, and you're a banker. You would lose money.
I will not, because I believe the Clemson Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide are better than the Miami Dolphins right now.
But with that being said, with Mason Rudolph playing, if you go ahead, what's the problem with him playing almost Tom Brady-esque football? When I'm saying that is basically, not calling him Tom Brady, but I say Tom Brady-esque, meaning throw it to the tight end, throw it to the backs, maybe 1 or 2 plays downfield. Play one football, call it what you have it, but the kid just came back from injury and he's still learning
It's
to
the
play
Miami Dolphins. Air it out.
Okay, so you air it out, and they do have a somewhat good secondary, although we have
No, they don't. They gave you their best player.
Yeah, it's true. They gave it, but they do have Howard. They got hurt.
Listen, if they didn't trust him against the Dolphins, they don't trust him at all. That's the truth.
Well, that's what it came down to. I'm more of a conservative. I'm like, I'm trying to win the game.
That's because you're old.
You realize, call me what you want. Call me, and you're the same age as me. How the hell you call me old? But the same factor of the matter is, I'm not trying to lose that game. I'm not trying to lose that game because I don't want to make sure the Dolphins have a top 5 fucking pick.
Wait.
I don't want to hear.
Question. You're a defensive player, right?
All day.
That explains everything about the conservativeness. That's what makes you old.
Hey, offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Yeah, since when?
So all I'm gonna tell you,
The 80s are over
look at
with.
Nah, baby, you got to go ahead and talk about. Let's say the Patriots last year. Defense won them games.
And what about when they beat the Falcons? Was that the defense too?
Damn right, because the defense came back.
The defense gave up 28 points in the first half. That game was lost. That game was lost because that game was lost because their coach turned into a. Yeah, you know what he turned into.
And let's talk about. And you said yourself, just this podcast alone, if we're going to go there. Why is the Patriots undefeated? Not because of their offense, not because of stuff going on. The defense. You said that. It's been recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, if we rewind this one,
on the podcast, we understand who the old person is and who the young person is. The old person is preaching defense and conservatism. The new person.
And winning games. That's because you have a quarterback that can go ahead and light it up. You want light up Christmas tree time.
So Tom can't light it up anymore?
Hey, if the score is fucking 7-0 and we win the game, we win the game. I don't give a damn if it's 50 or something. You don't want to watch it, go for it. But I'm going to watch this game because I'm trying to win games. That's all it is.
So The Walking Wounded, Part 2.
So now
yes, I'm moving on.
Part whatever. We are way beyond part 2, brother. Part 2 was week 3. Right now we are on.
That was part 1.
No. Okay. We got Ben injured. Yeah. We had James Washington.
Ben was injured in camp. Y'all were lying to the world about that.
Of course we did. We've been lying for the last 4 or 5 years.
I mean, but listen, if you listen, magic, baby. Since we want to go back in time, if we go back to when we first started doing a duo podcast, and I was telling you that Ben was hurt in camp. I mean, dude was hurt before the season started.
I told you that myself. I just sat there and said he's going to play. I sat there and told you that myself. That wasn't a surprise. It wasn't like, oh, no, Ben's not hurt. No, Ben's been hurt. That's why he gained all the goddamn weight. But again, are you going to sit there and tell him that, hey,
yes,
stop Ben from playing? No.
Yes.
You're not going to tell him
you need to lose 30 pounds or you can't play. Because you're fat and you're old. You can't be old and fat in the NFL as a quarterback.
Let's keep it real. You kind of, I know you're on your tangent, but let's really keep it real.
You cannot be old and fat in the NFL as a quarterback.
Who's going to survive?
Real. What?
Who's going to survive? The quarterback or the coaching staff?
Yeah, whatever. Well, it happened anyway, and Fat Boy is sitting on the bench.
Let's leave that alone. It did get hurt. So, with that being said, we do now have James Conner has an AC injury for a run that, I'd be honest with you, they should have pulled Conner once we had still the lead at 27-14, but he stayed in the game. He has an AC injury, so he's day-to-day. So if he's out this upcoming week against the Colts, we're now with Benny Snell, which today, newsflash, he got pulled over with weed. So he will
Breaking
get
news.
fined. I don't think he'll get suspended, but he will get suspended. Well, he probably won't get suspended this game because it's so late. They probably will suspend him the next game. Hopefully Conner gets hurt. Is not hurt. Hopefully it's day-to-day and he plays, because if not, we will be now either getting someone off the street or we will be getting someone off the practice squad, which they've already called up, which I forgot the kid's names off the practice squad. And this is a game that we need against a Colts team that's actually kind of hot right now.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're making, for us to go 3-1 in the last 4 games, considering the fact we start 0-3, it's commendable considering we are. And considering the fact is we are still the walking wounded, and we could have won a game against. Also considering the fact we lost the game by a field goal, and the San Fran game, honest to God truth, and y'all San Fran fans, including my cousin, should not be too happy because y'all technically lost. If we wouldn't have had to fumble with Conner with 2 minutes left and y'all on y'all 20, y'all would have lost that game too. But I mean, if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Exactly.
With that being said, we're just trying to make magic out of nothing because we're on a bunch of third string, second string, and young players. and we're still being competitive.
Well, first off, you're not just being competitive. You said earlier in the season after Ben got hurt, this is going to be the first time in years that Mike Tomlin has had to coach. Well, Mike Tomlin has showed you he can be a coach, and not just a coach, a great coach. He has won with basically taped up players or players that basically players that other people would consider aren't as good as the starters. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I'm still in that same bandwagon. Ben Roethlisberger should retire or get traded. I'm all for Mason Rudolph. I'm all for Mason Rudolph. I think he can win games.
Well, he's our future. What? Unless he gets hurt again, he's our future. Because if he gets hurt again, then we're going to be looking at
if he gets hurt again, then you got to be looking elsewhere. But right now, I like Mason Rudolph for the Steelers. I think he fits the Steelers. Once they get a solid running back, I think the old Steelers would be back if they were with Mason Rudolph under the helm. That's how I feel.
We do have a solid running back. We just need a solid running back to not be hurt. Keep in mind, James Conner was AFC Player of the Week.
That's wonderful. But if your best ability is availability and your guy is not available enough, you need a solid running back. You're no different. A solid running back. You're no different than any other team. You're no different than the Chiefs. If, say, your running back isn't available and you're stuck with a third down back as your starter.
So, question.
Hold on 1 second. Breaking news. The Astros are now up 2-0. Bottom of the fifth inning. Runners on first and third with 2 outs. Astros have scored their second run in the bottom of the fifth inning and are up 2-0.
Nice. Boy, Mattress Mac gonna keep that $3 million.
You talk about a game of inches. This ball went off the third baseman's glove to allow the second run to score. Carlos Correa with a RBI single sends the Astros up 2-0. Back to the Steelers.
The one question I do have to ask you: would you, if this was the perfect world, would you keep McCoy and Williams, or if you had the opportunity to have Snell and Connor, you would rather have them too?
Oh shoot! I would keep
a healthy Connor. A healthy Connor.
Well, no, I can't go off of healthy. I have to go off the player and the player's history.
Okay.
Do I have Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, you have your quarterback.
Then I don't care.
Regardless.
I'll stick with what I got if I got Mahomes. The reason that being is because Mahomes is going to open up the field for anybody anyway. All Andy has to do is hand the ball off to Damian Williams, and Damian Williams just not fumble. So it doesn't matter.
But here's the thing. Doesn't it help to have a good running game to help your quarterback?
It does. I would take Le'Veon Bell over all 4 of those.
Well, yeah, I could. And now that they are having a firestorm Le'Veon Bell, which is very interesting.
Well, the Chiefs were never going to pay $13, $14, $15 million a year for a running back. Again, we've got contract issues, and they are now. They're not later.
Yeah. I knew they wasn't going to do that, but I didn't think that, to be honest, if you want to keep it 100% real, I didn't think the Jets should have paid that much for Le'Veon anyway when they had – you're only as good as your offensive line.
Well, the Jets had no choice.
The Jets did have a choice.
They didn't.
Bilal Powell last year had ran for 1,000 yards. They had a choice.
The Jets need to sell tickets. And Le'Veon Bell is a name. If nothing else, he's still a name.
Side note, I know you're saying that, but I wanted to see that, and I'm glad you brought that up. Last week, I looked on a stat to see if their ticket sales had gone up because of the Le'Veon Sam Darnold thing. Nah.
Sam Darnold's been hurt, and when he's been healthy, he sucked.
But, again, Le'Veon Bell's there.
You talk about a team that should be kicking themselves in the mouth right now. They had Teddy Bridgewater a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
did. All right, we're done with the walking wounded. Minkah Fitzpatrick with 3 picks, 2 forced fumbles in 3 games with the Steelers. Is he proving he was worth that first-round pick?
Goddamn right he is, especially in this upcoming draft. So I know
2 of those interceptions were of the Dolphins.
Well, and he had one. Okay, I'll give you the 2 interceptions with the Dolphins. But I also want to tell you this: he also had the forced fumbles, and that had nothing to do with the Dolphins.
I'm just saying that 2 of those interceptions came against the Dolphins, and
that's a revenge.
As I said, that's a college football team.
Again, this year's draft coming up doesn't have anybody that is even scary at corner or safety. And that's what the Steelers will be gunning for, is a corner or a safety in this year's upcoming draft, because that's the one real pick, the real spot that they need. That and outside linebacker, to be real. Minka's showing that, hey, maybe that pick, because again, it's talent. Minka's only in his second year in the league. He got drafted last year to the Dolphins. He's only in his second year, and he's proven talent. And he's proven talent from a winner, Alabama. So as much as I was on the fence with that pick, and the only reason I was on the fence with the pick is because the fact of the matter is, if we did tank the season, we could use that for multiple picks versus just one player. Because the Steelers are always going to trade down. That's their DNA. And it's a rarity
from the Patriots.
Right. I mean, well, they've been doing that before the Patriots, but the Patriots were more known for it. But again, we could have used it for multiple picks, picked out. Fine. But Fitzpatrick is balling. The defense is actually coming together. If we can have a solid repertoire with our offense, we are still competitive within the AFC. And I'm actually cool with that. So I'm going to go on the fence and say, as of right now, with the AFC period, outside of the Patriots and you guys. I ain't say we're elite.
And Texans. And Ravens right now.
We lost to the Ravens by a goddamn field goal. I'm not throwing the Ravens up.
You call him an MVP candidate. If he's an MVP candidate, then you are behind them right now.
Right now, I can call the player. I didn't say the team. I said the player, because the player is balling. So we're not going. We talked about Lamar Jackson. We'll get on that guy another day. But again, we're being very competitive, and that defense is showing. We have statistic-wise, we have a top 10 defense. It's just getting the offense together and not turning the ball over.
You know what? When the Chiefs play the Dolphins, we'll have a top 10 defense too.
You're counting. I'm talking even before the Dolphins. But I am talking against other teams. We caused against San Fran, who is now considered NFL elite now.
First off, they're not considered elite. They're considered a defensive powerhouse. Jimmy Garoppolo has not been asked to do much of anything. The defense has been dominant.
Well, they don't have to do anything
because Jimmy Garoppolo has been dominant.
Right. You have probably the second is right now, and I'm actually going to put it Bosa now a little bit ahead of Bush for Defensive Player of the Year.
A little?
Player of the Year or Rookie of the Year.
A little?
No, he slowed down. But, again, this is going to be very, very competitive in a sense where we're balling out. Now, we have a stretch where in our division you have we won't count Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati and Miami, those are the two teams we're going to debate.
They are equivalent.
And I will say this, Texans fans, y'all have a great backup quarterback next year because that's where Andy Dalton will be. And you'll have we have, I don't know what to call Cleveland right now. Overrated, like I've been saying.
Well, they are who we thought they were.
When everybody was sitting there giving them
including me, I'll take that. Including me.
Yeah, so overrated, but I don't know what to say.
I mean,
first
off, I can't call Cleveland overrated. I will call them underperforming because, again, on paper, that team should be like 7-1. And the fact that they haven't executed is A, coaching, B, the quarterback. And A, coaching, B, the offensive line, and C, the quarterback.
But I kept saying the quarterback's overrated.
I knew that. You knew that. But I had to, I gave him some. First off, I didn't give him credit. I gave the talent around him credit. And again, next week we can see if that talent.
This is emergency. Pause this record.
All right. I got you.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
actually, never mind. Keep going. Let's go.
All right.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
Sorry about that. That was just the wife just called me and while we're in the middle of the podcast, but now she says she's okay. All right. So going back to what we were saying.
But I was talking about the talent around him. The talent around Baker Mayfield. This is the same thing that happened with Matt Moore last week and will happen again this week. Your talent makes you better. And he's got Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and for the first time, and his running backs, Nick Chubb's been doing well, and Kareem Hunt's.
But is it a good fit? This is the issue.
It's the quarterback.
Right, I agree. But we both sat there and said at the beginning of this year, it's too soon for him to be as. Put him on elite.
First off, he's entitled.
Correct. But he plays with a chip on his shoulder. If you even see the interview today where they're basically sitting there saying like, hey, it's not good, it's not working out, blah, 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 blah. What do you need to change? And he popped off on a reporter and then he left and then he had to go to Twitter to explain why he popped off on the reporter. Let's just keep this real. Baker Mayfield has a couple issues with him. He's always going to have a chip on his shoulder because he wasn't a top tier kid coming out of high school. He had to walk on 2 different squads in Texas Tech and Oklahoma. He was drafted to Cleveland. He thinks he's a savior. He's getting tired of people comparing him to Johnny Manziel, but everything he's doing right now is showing that. This is the issue I have with it. It's too soon for that kid.
No. He's not Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. Keep comparing him that because of the attitude issue.
The attitude issue isn't drinking.
Right, I agree. But he's too cocky. And he is.
I agree with that. He's like arrogant as hell.
And when he went there and said, you know who he reminds me of? He's kind of Vince Youngish, where he sat there and said,
I think he's Joe Namath-ish without the talent or without the track record.
I was about to say, saying Joe Namath had a track record.
Yeah,
this kid has not.
I'm saying without the track record.
Without Rookie of the Year, the only thing he has nothing else to really talk about. He won Rookie of the Year, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to sit there and say that
Can I throw my ring in the hat about that Rookie of the Year? Patrick Mahomes was technically a rookie last year. That's all I'm saying.
Fred.
I'm just saying.
No.
Technically, he was also a first-year starter.
He played a game.
Ooh, he played one football game.
But eliminates him for Rookie of the Year. Sorry.
Anyway.
Baker
is not a great quarterback, but we're talking Steelers right now, and we're talking Minkah Fitzpatrick right now, and the overall secondary right now. Let me be the first to say, I've been impressed with Steven Nelson. The reason I'm the first to say that I've been impressed because I talked mad trash about Steven Nelson. He's played well. Somebody's taught him some ball skills, and he's looked like a solid cornerback. I've never said his problem.
But he's also not giving this your number one.
Yeah, that's true.
I had him going against.
No, he was always against the number 2 receiver. Always number 2.
I thought he was always going against the number 1.
He was always against the number 2 receiver. The guy just had no ball skills. I never said he had a problem covering. I said he has no clue on where the ball is, and that was always his problem. Someone over there taught him how to find the ball.
But the other factor is we're not playing as much one-on-one coverage. We play a zone coverage, and that's how he survived. He is a zone cornerback. He is similar to Marcus Peters. They're zone quarterbacks, so they successfully play well in the zone. If you put them on one-on-one, no, we may have an issue. You guys play a lot of one-on-one.
He's still a solid corner in one-on-one coverage. I'm sorry, real quick, I interrupted there to say, into the 6th inning, the Houston Astros are still up 2-0. We are into the late stretches of the the baseball game now, and the Astros have the lead with 3 innings left to play.
Balling. The Astros may go ahead and win this. This may be take it back, maybe take it real. We may get it back. Go ahead, Astros.
Listen, I'm all for the Astros winning, but I'm royal. When you check my blood when I die, it will be blue. As much as I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm royal until the end of time. And I will celebrate with the Astros, but not like I'm really celebrating with the Astros.
I'm gonna celebrate because it's just the moment. You're celebrating the moment.
I mean, I didn't even celebrate it all the last time because I was a little
I
bitter.
did. It was for the moment.
I was a little bitter. Yeah.
That's because y'all just recently won one yourselves. Anyway,
First off, this was the Astros' first ever. Okay? First ever.
Mm-hmm.
So don't come for my team. Anyway, as you were saying, the Steelers have the Colts. The Colts, as you said earlier this week, are basically balling, except for in fantasy, as I cut Jacoby Brissett after I gave him the backup job after Mahomes got hurt. The Colts are a solid football team, and they are just that, a football team. I like the Steelers and their momentum, but if they come out like they came out against the Dolphins, they're going to lose this game.
So what it is game management. This is going to be the game management game from hell. Because if the Steelers go ahead and run the ball, because the one thing is the Colts are not a good rush defense. They're not a good at stopping the run.
Yeah, they're not.
If we can go ahead and run the ball with a two-headed monster we did, basically play the same style we did against the Chargers. Well, that's the question. The quarterback's in. Mason Rudolph is here to stay.
I know.
He's
I'm
not
talking about Jalen Samuels.
He is activated as of right before the podcast. They officially announced he is activated in the game.
So he's no longer questionable.
Well, they have him activated, so I'm gonna say he's going to play. Especially with the fact is now they have Connor is questionable.
I like when Samuels plays because he gives y'all a different dimension.
Right, because he is elite at catching the ball. But think about it, when he was at NC State. When he was at NC State, he was their Swiss Army knife. So he basically was known for doing everything, do it all back. I think he had 700 receiving and 700 rushing. So it'll balance out if Benny Snell does not get suspended, Lord forbid. But if he does, if he goes past that, then we should be okay. Again, we don't need Mason to go ahead and try to get into a shootout with Brissett. Not to say that this is going to be
the Colts haven't let Brissett throw the ball.
That's on them. They have weapons. I mean, with Ebron, and that's going to be the X factor. We have to stop. Not only do we have to stop T.Y. Hilton, but I think T.Y. Hilton could have some issues. We got to stop Eric Ebron.
Well, I think T.Y. Hilton is just old now. I think the turf has finally gotten to him, and he's just not the same player unless he sees the Texans on the other side. Other than that.
Right. But Eric Ebron is still coming to try to prove that he is in the same threshold as
Travis Kelce.
Your Travis Kelce's and
right
George
now,
Kittle's and that type.
Darren Fells in Houston at this moment.
Right. And Eric Ebron's been balling, and the one thing is we're still struggling against is stopping the tight end. It's just luckily Miami doesn't have a tight end we're talking about. But we need to still figure out a way to stop these tight ends because that's the one X factor. If we could slow the tight end down and slow down Marlon Cook, I think we win this game. I'm actually going to have faith in my Steelers and say we can pull this one off. It'll be a close one, so I'm going 21-20 us.
I like your score. I like it reversed. I like the Colts up by the 1 point. 21-20 Colts because they have been finding a way to win, and I think right now they're just a better football team. Programming note, I'm sorry I was a little premature. We are still in the bottom of the 6th inning. It is still 2-0 Astros, but the Astros are at bat, and the Nationals have made a pitching change. Anyway, like I said, I got the Colts 21-20. We were supposed to do a prediction of this game, but it's not really fair since we're already in the bottom of the 6th, and I just gave that update. We're going to close the show with a topic that I posted on Facebook this week. Clint Capella, is it time for the Rockets to move on from him? You and I had a spirited debate this afternoon about Kevin Love and him potentially being the replacement. I don't like Clint Capella because I won't say I don't like Clint Capella. I don't like the way the Rockets use him, and I don't like that he doesn't have that nasty in him. I think he's still playing Swiss basketball. unfortunately, for the Rockets. If he had that nasty in him, then he could be a number 5. But he's just a little soft, and I don't think the Rockets can win a championship with him.
Here's the thing. You know what Clint Capella ended up being? He ended up being Dwight Howard 2.0.
Yes.
That's what he ended up being.
I agree 100%. Yes. No. The reason why I don't agree 100% is because Dwight Howard could play shutdown defense. Dwight Howard was a monster on the boards all the time. Clint Capella will get you a rebound, but he's not a monster on the boards.
Here's the thing with it. He isn't a monster on the boards, but he's averaged 12 and 12 the last 2 seasons. He's averaged 2 blocks per season.
And the Rockets were last in defensive rebounding last year.
Who else rebounds? That's the problem. We clearly seen that last year. Let's just bring up a prime example. In the playoffs last year against Golden State, when Golden State was having a shitload of offensive rebounds, that wasn't Capella's fault because Capella was in foul trouble. But no one else
or guarding the guard.
Or he was guarding the guard, exactly. No one stepped up to the plate to rebound.
Well, but their next biggest player is P.J. Tucker. And P.J. Tucker is all of 6'5". You're about his height, right?
I've stood next to P.J. Tucker. We're exactly the same.
Exactly.
I'm 6'5" and 3/4, and so is P.J. Tucker.
So exactly what I'm saying is if you go from Clint is 6'10", and then your next tallest player, your nastiest next player is also your best defender. So he's never going to be under the boards either. The Rockets need a center that is just nasty, and they don't have that in Capella.
But in the league right now, if you take away their elite centers, so Embiid, Towns, Davis, even Cousins, although Cousins is hurt, and I'm probably missing somebody else, Porzingis.
Cousins hasn't been elite for at least 2.5 years now.
Correct. But who can step up? And I couldn't think of a name, and it was driving me crazy.
You gave me one, Adams. I love Adams for this team.
And here's the problem with Adams. Adams right now is getting paid $24 million a year.
And the Rockets
that contract is killing.
So
the Rockets ain't got that money to give.
I know we're talking about Clint, but there's another player that can go too. Eric Gordon is just not that guy.
He is your most solid, consistent off the bench player. Y'all need a bench.
He hasn't been the same in 2 years, 2.5 years. Ever since
they balled out last year, he was pretty good.
So listen, he was a starter last year mostly because all the injuries. But ever since Lou Williams came to Houston, Eric Gordon has really not been that bench player that they needed him to be.
But now they need him as the bench
player. And he
player.
Ain't got it.
If your starting 5 is Capella, Russ, Harden, Tucker, and whoever you want at power forward. The problem is that Daryl Morey but D'Antoni likes putting Gordon at the 3. But now you're exhausting your bench players because your only other bench players is your utility guy, Gerald Green, out for the season. You have Ben McLemore bust. You have Daniel House, who the local guy that y'all should be using but don't. So with that being said, y'all not using the whole entire roster right. Who else you got? Nene? Really?
He's hurt Tyson right Chandler? Now anyway.
Right. Tyson Chandler's old.
So here's the thing, and we were talking about it on Skype today. Eric Gordon, what the Rockets need from Eric Gordon, he has not shown to be that. Especially when it counts. He's not a clutch player. He doesn't show up in the playoffs. He does have some good, solid regular season games. But that's not what the Rockets need. This is not a team competing to win the most regular season games. This is a team that's built to try to win in the playoffs, or it's supposed to be built that way.
Keep that line.
Yeah, it's supposed to be built that way. They have one of the worst clutch superstars in the league. They have one of the worst clutch sidekicks in the league, and they have one of the worst clutch bench players in the league. And I just, like I said earlier on Skype, I would have loved to have seen J.J. Redick playing for Houston. They never made an offer. I would
JJ
love.
don't play defense.
I don't
You
care.
still have another player.
He can hit a shot. Eric Gordon can't. Not in the playoffs. Not when it counts. I love Eric Gordon. I only have one Rockets jersey. It's Eric Gordon's jersey. My problem with Eric Gordon is they need somebody that be able to hit that three-pointer when the clock is going down that's not James, because he's got to be able to pass the ball off like Michael was able to do in the 90s. He doesn't have that option right now.
Who does? That's a great question, though. But the fact of the matter is this. If we're going to concentrate on getting rid of Eric Gordon, getting rid of Capella, who do you go get? My thing, I had two ideas. I said Hassan Whiteside and Rodney Hood up there in
I'm
Portland.
Sorry. Can I break in one more time? In addition to breaking news, right now the lowly Golden State Warriors are beating the Houston Rockets by 8 with 3:46 left to go in the game.
That's showing you something.
I'm sorry. That's the Washington Wizards.
I was about to say, I don't think it's Golden State. I think it's,
Dude, you know how many points have been scored? It's 147 to 139.
And I was the first one to say a long time ago, and we weren't talking about this, but I sat there and said, I think Bradley Beal, if you let him loose, could be better than James Harden.
Dude, they have 150 points. With 3:46 left to go in this game.
Left in the game.
Yes.
That means there's no defense. But the thing is
I'm going to let you score, you're going to let me score, and whoever can make more shots at the end of this game is the winner.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, the Rockets, if they need a defensive player, so why get somebody that you can concentrate on defense or someone that's going to fit their offense?
But is Eric Gordon a defensive
Love
player?
fits their offense.
Oh,
no,
God.
that's your issue.
Not Kevin
But he's a better defensive player than Harden. He's not a better defensive player than
That's
Russell.
not
At
saying
the time
much.
Last year,
I'm a better defensive player than James Harden.
Damn, that sucks. You got bad feet.
Horrible feet.
But with that being said, Gordon's a better defensive player than at that last year's team with Paul and Harden. He may not be a better defensive player than Russ because Russ plays the passing lanes a lot better than Gordon. But if you also know, like we talked about before,
Harden plays
Gordon's
the passing
always
lanes better than Gordon.
Maybe.
No, not maybe. Harden is good at steals. If nothing else, if the only thing he's worth on defense is playing the passing lane. He's been good at steals.
But Harden never has to go against their best defensive player, and they always put Gordon on their best offensive player. Although Gordon
PJ Tucker, you mean?
They give Gordon. No. PJ Tucker's always going against the 3 through 5 position. But if it's the 1 and the 2, they will have Gordon on him. If you watched against the Golden State Warriors, you had Tucker on. If it was Tucker, you'd had Tucker on KD, but you had Gordon on Steph versus Harden on Steph. And sometimes you had Gordon going against Clay as well.
Well, Harden was never going to guard Steph.
He should have.
Why?
If he's quote unquote, he says he's a better defensive player. Why don't go play defense?
He was never able. First, he's just. Oh, hold on. It is the top of the 7th, 2-1 now. Astros after a solo home run. Zach Greinke has given up his first run of the game by Anthony Rendon. The Washington Nationals have cut the lead in half. It is 1-2, top of the 7th with 1 out. Astros still leading.
This is one that's going to get real. But again, if we're going to go back to the premise of the argument, I don't think you trade Capella unless you can find a solid big that can lead.
They're not going to trade him, but I think they should. Well, I sent you the article. They are, and they should be open to it because
they should have traded Capella during the offseason for Al Horford. Al Horford was interested in coming to Houston. They should have pulled that deal. They didn't. They could have traded Capella and Gordon for Al Horford and some other damn player from the Celtics and a pick. Knowing the Houston Rockets don't have 50 picks anymore. That's done. And they would add Horford, who is a solid defender, can shoot, can be involved in the fourth quarter, and can hit 70% of his free throws. But the Rockets didn't want to do it because, again, Morey is in that whole dimension of money ball, small ball, and Horford doesn't fit a system where it's running up and down drastically fast instead of slowing it down.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, listen, Clint Capella, he wouldn't have a job in 90s basketball, but he's serviceable now.
Yeah, he's serviceable. That's a great way to call it.
I just don't think. No, let me say this. I do believe that with a better center, the Rockets are contenders. I think with Capella, they don't make it to the finals again. He just has no offense that he can actually create. He only catches oops. That's it.
You know what Capella is, actually? He is the 2K version of Charles Smith. Remember Charles Smith from back in the days with the New York Knicks?
You old, bro.
He can play defense. He can play defense. He can score when necessary, like a wide-open bucket or a dunk. But other than that, you really didn't have no fear in him. If Capella was 10 feet out, I'm not really worried about him. If he hits the jumper, God bless him. But other than that, it's like, okay.
Well, that jumper has no place in basketball now, but he should, like, Adams can create a shot in the paint. And that's what the Rockets need. They need a nasty player. Adams is that. Capella is not. OKC has nothing to play for. Why not try to do a straight up trade for the two? I get that.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. Anyway, that's our show for today. Outside of this, J-Dub's rant of the week.
All right, so this is going to be very interesting. I'm actually going to say something. I'm commending the NCAA. The NCAA yesterday came down with a rule by the pressure of California to now go ahead and pay for the likeness of college players. So if you're a college athlete, you will finally, and you're on a video game, or if you're getting sponsored, or they're selling your jersey number, you finally will get a check off of that. That's commendable. Now here's the issue. The biggest issue of the matter is that's only going to affect two sports, football and basketball. It won't affect baseball, it won't affect swimming, it won't affect anybody else. So the NCAA still is going to make a profit, but at least this is a start. Because how much money did Florida, for example, 10 years ago make off of Tim Tebow? How much money did USC make off of Reggie Bush? I think they made a hell of a lot more money off of Reggie Bush in that number 5 jersey and his being on the video game, or the NCAA 2A video game, than whatever he pocketed when he was at USC. Probably triple that. I'm just saying, if y'all going to start this now. If we can get paid, or if athletes can get paid in college, trust me, Lord forbid, if it was back in the days and I can get paid for likeness, shit, I would take even $100 just to have my likeness on the game. Thank you for doing that finally, and NCAA is getting it. Stop robbing these kids saying a college scholarship is all they need. If you're making money, if Duke made $20 million last year off of Zion and Andre Barrett or RJ Barrett, why not give them some of that money? Why? Well, we'll pay them down the line. No, you're not. Because if these kids get hurt or if something happens to these kids, if they don't have an insurance policy, you screwed. But yet the NCAA made a ton of money off it. If Tim Tebow was not successful at talking and doing baseball and he would just end up being a bum after college, y'all made more money off of him than the NCAA, than he'll ever make off of his own life. I'm just saying, at this point, thank you for at least trying to start. But do the full job. Pay the players. Go ahead and pay these people, because y'all are the only reason why some of you guys have a job is because these young men and women are going to your school and being this TV money and this radio money and that money. Look how much, for example, UT fans, I love y'all to death, but y'all Longhorn Network is making a lot more money than any of those players ever will. And so with this being the start paying these players, but at least let this be the start of it. But y'all need to continue a little more. Pay them fully.
I 100% agree that these players need to be compensated, especially when you're paying coaches who are not actually in the line of fire. Wonderful rant this week, J-Dub. Again, I'm KCReginaldJr.
It's your man, J-Dub, Justin Waters.
This has been underDawgSportz. at the end of our show. It is still 2-1 Astros. Zach Greinke has just been relieved, and the Nationals have the tying run on first base with 1 out. Again, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Go Astros for this day only.
Dang. Go Astros. Postseason. Pirates, learn a lesson. Peace.
Fall is here, and Old Navy's got all the styles you need right now with up to 50% off store-wide. Hurry in for the season's biggest trends like Rockstar jeans and frost-free jackets on sale. Jeans start at just $18 for adults, $12 for kids. Plus, get warm and stylish outerwear from just $18 for adults, $17 for kids. Want to save even more? Redeem your Super Cash now through Sunday. Hurry in now for up to 50% off store-wide at Old Navy and OldNavy.com. Valid 10/26 to 11/3, select styles only.
The Starlight Lounge presents an evening with the Progressive Box.
Old moon, yeah. That's Hugo, tickling the ivories. He just saved by bundling home and auto with Progressive. Gonna finally buy a ring for that gal of yours, Hugo? Send her my condolences. Hi-oh! This next one's for you two. There's a burglar in my heart. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.